What's going on, world? You're rocking with the young man Nuke, and this is Fresh Radio, where I bring you the family revolution, edutainment, spirituality, health, and hip hop all in one show. Today, I have an interesting guest. They're gonna come and talking about. Well, man, we're gonna get into it, like a plethora of things, but we're definitely gonna talk about this event they have coming up, October 25th. Um, I'm going to allow him to basically just give us the better version of what I could not do, and talk to us about who he is and what it is that he does. Carsten Spencer,
I'm
you out there?
I'm here. Thanks, Nuke. Great to be on the show.
Yes, sir.
And it sounds like a wonderful platform. And my friend Marguerite from our spiritual community in Richmond here, Unity of Richmond, she said, "I got a friend Nuke that you might want to talk to because we're doing this benefit for the church."
Mm-hmm.
And so we set it up, and here we go. I've been at Unity of Richmond for going on 3 years now. And it was right after the pandemic when I'm trying to figure out, okay, what am I going to do next? And truthfully, for me, the pandemic was a great time to reboot, to let
Yeah.
it all go. And and what happened during the pandemic is I found this play that I'd written years ago, and actually forgot that I had written it. And as I'm reading through it, I got so lost in the story that I kept forgetting I had written it. And I was laughing at certain points, and other times it brought tears to my eyes. So I thought, okay, I got to start putting this stuff out there. So I arranged a reading, and that went really well. And then I found this other piece that I've been working on forever that's really, quite autobiographical.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really about me sort of dealing with the guilt and shame that I got programmed with in Catholic school, and then sort of how I escaped, and I turned it into a musical. And when I got to Unity of Richmond East Bay, it was after the pandemic, and I put out a couple of feelers because I'd been the spiritual leader at another Unity church up in Ukiah for 7 years. And when that ended, I thought, oh, that was wonderful, but I was focusing on other things. And then after the pandemic, I put out a little letters, just as a guest speaker in some of the churches around here. And Unity of Richmond called me in, and it was just such a loving and really a family church. And I felt immediately connected with the people. And I love the unity message because, we don't believe in guilt. It's about we went directly to Jesus's teachings, and it's really about we are all love. We're divine expressions of love coming here to express our unique individuality. And so when I saw the beautiful stage that they had at Unity of Richmond and realized that they had sort of fallen into just a storage space, they weren't using it anymore, I kept thinking, we got to get that stage going. So I've taken this autobiographical play, which was really a one-man show for a while. And that's how I was originally looking at it. I thought, well, let me turn this into a actual play, and we can get some of our members and reach out to other people in the community, give creative people a chance to get up and do it. So that's what's actually happening, and it's been a journey for me because I'd kind of gotten it to the point where my performer self is something I'd done in the past, and I didn't need to follow that that passion. But at 70 years old, I'm kind of at the point where I'm either really enjoying life and having fun, or else I'm getting ready to pack it in. The thing that gives me the most joy and most passion is performing, and particularly performing stuff that I've created myself that has the spiritual message in it, but it's not preachy, because
Right.
very often preachy people turn themselves off, or you're just preaching to the choir. But if you bring something new that's based in someone's personal experience and got some music and some humor as well as the message, then to me that's what it's all about. So that's what's been exciting about this piece, because it really has brought together my spiritual journey as well as my creative journey, and I think the most important thing is it brought together my adult self with a reconnection to my inner child.
Mm. That is a beautiful thing right there to get connected with your inner child. I've been really learning that you need to. We're the adult now for our inner child, and we need to really
Amen.
actually
Yes,
listen
sir.
to it.
Yeah, yeah, and what I often would tell the people that I coach, I do spiritual coaching as well as my unity work, is I tell them, it's our job to reparent the inner child
Yeah.
because our parents all did the best they could with the information that they had gotten and the program they had gotten, but then there's a lot of shit going on and misunderstanding about really why we're here and what it's all about. And so it takes, everyone tells you, oh, life is short. Truth is, if you're really present, you're listening within, you're doing your best to put your best self out there, life can really be long because there's so much learning opportunity.
Yeah. 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 You're supposed to learn something new every day, and that's what helps us grow and expand. So like, yeah,
Yeah.
that's I've taken a couple therapy sessions, we'll say, as an adult, and they helped me to reformulate the way that I approach my approach. Like
Mm.
I grew up accustomed to one way of doing things, and not necessarily saying it was the right way. I mean, who knows what's right and
Yeah.
right or wrong? But in the same breath, they weren't conducive to being a upstanding, financially capable individual in life.
Yeah, yeah. But just being able to show up, if we're talking about the self, parenting our inner child, is growing up and taking care of ourselves in a way that still makes us feel good. It takes care of our needs, but it also is in harmony with what I believe is our basic human emotion, which is compassion, which is
Hmm.
that heart love that is not just for ourselves, but it extends to others, including, Mother Earth and taking care of our home here.
Hmm. Man, people think it's it's really terrible when people litter. You don't have no idea. Like I've been on the edge of the country, Mexico, United States,
Hmm.
and the things that some of these people have done to the quote unquote Mexican side is crazy, crazy. I used to be a truck driver, so the truckers just had no respect. But like in the same
Yeah.
breath, it's all the same planet. Like there's imaginary line, and you really want to enforce this imaginary line, this border, if you will, and desecrate the planet because of X, Y, Z. So like, yeah, we're man. Like there's a whole nother layer of existence once you can kind of like just take down that mental prison.
Well, there's a quote that I like from one of my favorite spiritual teachers, and and she channels information from from non-physical beings, as she says,
Mm.
and the quote is, uh, you know, you human beings make so many laws that you turn everyone into criminals.
Yeah,
In a
yeah.
sense, it's true. It's true because we've lost connection with our natural human compassion, and I would say it's beyond human because it has to do with the balance that's inherently programmed into nature. Um, but hold on, am I getting another call? No, I'm going to be. Oh, I'm good.
Okay,
Um,
I can hear you. I can still hear you. You good?
yeah, good, good. Uh, but if we can connect with our true passion, we're going to treat each other with respect. But the more laws we feel we've got to fit in, we've got to fit in, it's what makes people frustrated and builds up this energy that feels like I'm not able to express my true self
Mm-hmm.
and find my own way, because that's partly what this human journey is about with all these infinite possibilities and choices.
Mm-hmm.
It's about tuning into what works for you without needing to make anybody else wrong.
Mm-hmm. Mm. You've touched on a couple different things in what you just said there, and I urge the listener to go back and listen again, and just to chime in. Infinite possibilities. Like there's, I think I can probably do this with you on a on this particular platform. But like, we live in a multiversal existence, and we are able to tap into any one of those multiversal existence. We just have to really tune into not only ourselves but our desires and the things that we put out there, and we can literally attract and pull ourselves into that frequency, if you will. That's why energy is so important. You can't be around people who radiate bad energy, because you end up picking that stuff up, and yeah, it's just not cool.
It's not cool. Well, here's my here's my take on that, and also going back to when you talked about you growing up and learning how to repair it yourself, and
Mm-hmm.
how we get programmed with certain beliefs about ourselves that aren't necessarily true, but we need to take them on because we need to figure out how to fit into our family or the culture. So we need to kind of, my belief is the first 28 years of our existence is really our first Saturn cycle. And the play, there's a whole prologue to the play that really is the two characters that appear are Scion, which is the main character's higher power, and Lunar Leo, which is his cosmic name. They're sitting on one of the rings of Saturn, and Scion is telling Lunar Leo that it's time for his first incarnation into Earth. So it's kind of telling him what to experience. So, one of the things he says is you will experience infinite possibilities. And so, this human playground that we're in is, a crazy place because there's so many choices, but we bring to it a powerful consciousness that is very, very creative. And so when we talk about learning to reparent ourselves, it's really about reminding our inner child, or reminding our adult that our inner child's most powerful tool was the imagination that we came in with. When we're children, we can imagine we're in a big battle, or we're a prince or a princess, and we believe it and it becomes true for us. But then our parents say, oh, no, that's just a fantasy. You have to get into reality. So a lot of, I think, our creative options as we pass that first Saturn return, because the first one is, it's a problem solver cycle. It's tell me who I am and who I need to be and what's going on here so I can fit in, and then to begin expressing my uniqueness within the system. And there's a lot of beliefs in whatever going on here. And then when Saturn comes around, clearing that first problem solver cycle, we don't need to always be being the fixer. And that's where people get stuck in this next cycle, because it's really a creative adventurer cycle once you pass 29. And then the creative work that I think is most valuable is look at what beliefs you're telling yourselves. Who do you think you are, and what do you think is going on out there, and what's about what you're telling yourself? What is not consistent about what your higher wisdom is, or your higher intuition? Because our higher intuition knows that anything is possible, but in this time-space playground, there's a process, and it doesn't happen. It's got immediate gratification. So it's learning to be a creator, but you got to start with your beliefs. And do I believe the world is a dangerous place and people are out to get me and it's not safe? Then that's what's going to show up. And a lot for me is reprogramming a lot of that negativity I got as a child, and it's still very present in what I call the error thinking of the collective human consciousness.
Man, I appreciate you, Carsten. You bring a level of spirituality to the Fresh Radio that hasn't been here in a while. And a lot of people that have been listening for a while know that I really get off into the metaphysical aspects of the life that we live. And it's just a whole nother layer to what I was taught growing up. There's a multi-dimensional layer. There's just levels to this.
Yes, sir.
There's really levels to this. I can't personally articulate it the way that that it needs to be. But I'm definitely I appreciate you, Carsten, for coming here and breaking it down to the people in this simplified form. I'm telling you, go back, listen. It's some deep jewels, jewelry is being dropped for sure, for sure. Let's talk about this benefit at Unity of Richmond East Bay. What do you got going on, man? Let's go a little bit further in depth of this October 25th event.
Well, it's a musical. It started out with really me journaling, and my journaling always brought me back to childhood and different events that had happened, and it always was the feeling that for me was the goal, because we can think ourselves into anything. You know, the mind is the Hindus call it. It's the chitta vritti. It's the constant chatter of the mind, and we're really taught when we're younger to believe that we are the mind. If we can figure it out and know what it is, then we're going to be okay. Which to me is on one level the biggest falsehood, because the gift of this human experience is we don't know what it is. It's constantly evolving. We are in the process of evolving this, earth or, human experience with the divine source, whether you want to call it God or the divine intelligence of the universe or pure love. But yeah, it's, and I think spirit speaks to us much more through feeling than thought. And a lot of us will pray and say, oh God, I want the answer. But we don't realize that very often the answer itself, once you put the prayer or the vibration out there, will come to you in divine timing, not necessarily through words, but through an experience. And very often it's an experience that pushes your button, and the first thing you say is, why is this happening? This is wrong. God, I asked for one thing and you brought me this. My journey has continued to teach me, and if I go the wrong way, it will teach me the other way, but has taught me, stop calling things right and wrong. Start looking at things at pure face value and continue to let go of what you think you know, because things are always changing and new information is always coming in. And sometimes it comes in from your aha moments and that intuition, but often it comes in from life showing up not in the way you think it should, but offering you something new. And very often the something new is, look at your beliefs. What are you telling yourselves about this situation? And does it trigger some old memory of some past situation that you still haven't come into balance with? And very often for me, it's those old regrets and resentments. And I find if I can go to those old regrets and resentments and feel the feeling around them, because it's an uncomfortable feeling that we try to avoid if we run from it. But if you can go into the feeling and just feel it, very often the feeling will give you more information about that event. And for me, it almost always leads to forgiveness or compassion, either for myself if it's a regret, or for the other person or situation if it was a resentment. Because when I ask myself, well, what if nothing went wrong? What if that's just what happened? Then suddenly that judgment of right and wrong makes space for me to go, oh, well, maybe I had a part in triggering that person. Because, people aren't always in their best place sometimes. And gee, have I ever acted negatively like that? And what if it wasn't personal? What if it wasn't even about me? What if it was about them? And then when it's me and an old regret that I have, going, no, I shouldn't have done that, it's going back and having compassion for yourself and recognizing that in almost every instance, we're doing the best we can with the information that we have and with the programming that's in there that we haven't really come into consciousness about what it's about. So we human beings need to let go of trying to live the right life and just being willing to be present in the moment and live.
That is man, I'll say it like this: it's easier said than done. I am.
Well, that's why it's taken me 70 years to at least come up with that idea of how to live, and then to practice it every day, because I'm not there, believe me. And that's part of the joy of doing this play, because it forces me to be stepping into something new where I'm still kind of at my learning edge curve, my learning curve place, and that helps me stay humble.
Mm,
And when we're in that humble place, we're much more able to connect with people on a heart level.
mm, that's ooh, that is so that's heavy right there. Being in the heart place to connect with people on that level. That is real heavy right there. A lot of people, this is my as a divorced single father, and I've recently, like real recently, started dating just to try to get the feelers out there for myself personally, trying to interact with a counterpart, if you will, and
Sure, good.
people don't know what they want from themselves, let alone from
Amen.
another person. So
Well, and when you don't know what you want from yourself, but then you get that feeling from another person, and then it's usually energetic because we share these chakras are sending energy back and forth to
mhm,
everybody all around us. We go, oh, this person feels good. This is what I want, but we don't really know what we want or what we want it. So we think of them on one level as our savior. They're the one that's going to give me this thing that I've always been looking for.
mm,
What I've learned to realize is no, they're the person that whatever the energies have brought you together, they're the person that are triggering your remembrance of that feeling. So it's not
mhm,
about getting it from them, but that's what happens. Someone comes in and they trigger our chakras. It's like, oh yeah, this is it, and we start grasping. This is an old Buddhist concept. If you're grasping, the universe automatically will pull away because that's the polarity that goes on here. So we have to really look at, are we grasping at life or are we averting? Are we pushing it away? Because either one means there's something inside going on where you're misunderstanding what's really happening and you're not able to really be present because you're either grabbing, thinking you need something to complete yourself, or you're pushing it away because you think something's going to hurt you. When you talked earlier, Nuke, about we have to be careful about energy because I don't want to be around people with negative energy, that's a big one. And I've worked, many years with many therapists working on myself,
mm,
as well as, coaching and working with doing the spiritual mentoring that I do. And I've learned that if we have that belief that we're afraid of the energy out there and people with negative energy can throw it on to us, then, and that we don't have any say in that, then we're the victim.
mm,
But when we realize that it is all about vibration and we're not going to attract any vibration that is not already present in us, and if it doesn't feel good, someone's energy that's coming in and affecting us, then that means, oh, this is an opportunity for me to come into harmony and integrate this energy, because all energy at its core is just pure love. And on
mm,
Mother Earth, we can think of that as life force. It's an energy that's moving things forward. So those triggers are always the door into more freedom, more peace, more understanding, because when you can deal with the trigger, which is always the most potent part of any trigger, is not what just happened. It's the feeling that it's activated in you, the life force that's been activated in you. And if it's bumping up against an old energy that says something's wrong, the world's not safe, and I have to protect myself against the world, then that's just building more defenses. And
mhm,
defenses really keep you from the true here and now experience of life. Because in truth, this is my truth, and I don't try to push my truth on anybody, but I do share it. My truth is there's nothing here that can hurt us. There's nothing here that can hurt us because this human experience on one level is just a vibration. It's kind of like a living or what we think of as a real dream.
mm,
And we all know that because we're all willing to, as scary as we can tell ourselves this world is, or, the news or whatever tells us, we all are able to at night say, okay, this was either a fun or interesting or crazy day, but I'm going to turn it all off and fall into that blissful place of sleep. So every night we go back into that other realm. And that's, our dreams are partly what we can grasp and bring that back. But, you know, we talk about faith at church, and all of us have a deep faith in something beyond ourselves. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to lie down and close our eyes and trust that we're going to wake up the next day. And
mhm,
so that statement for a number of my clients has been so helpful because it makes them realize, oh, yeah, there is a part of me that trusts the world and I can turn it all off. And in a way, that's what meditation is. It's just a different way of doing that without having to go completely out, but turn the world off. And it can be hard for people because we aren't taught to practice that. And even in prayer, a lot of it is the beseeching. It's the grasping, God, give me this, or take this, make this go away. It's that, you're praying to either get something new or push something away that you think isn't there. And for me, prayer is that time when I stop, get still, get out of my head, and go into my body and feel Mother Earth holding me here with gravity. And as I focus on gravity, you guys can do this with me. Anyone's listening, and Nuke, I invite you to do it too.
Okay.
As you let go and just focus on gravity and feel the security that's there. Our bodies know how to be here, but we're up in our head telling ourselves that it's not safe and we got to figure it out. That's what causes all our diseases. Because, the doctors tell us that 99% of our diseases, their core cause is stress. So when we can get into the body, let's do this. Close your eyes and just breathe into that downward pull of gravity. And let the intellect recognize that you're not doing that. You're not making that happen. That's something that's being done for you. Each breath and Mother Earth holding you here saying, hey, your body is part of me. Your body's connected to the rhythm. In your DNA, you hold the entire history of Mother Earth through your ancestors. Because think about it. There's you sitting here right now with your eyes closed, breathing. And then that pinnacle of life that you're sitting on are your 2 parents beneath you, 4 grandparents, 8 great-grandparents, 16 great-great-great, and on and on and on, all the way from the time that, amoebas crawled out of the ocean or, whatever your belief of creation is. But that's in your DNA. And so when the mind can relax and be present, the intellect can just be present as you're breathing and going into that deep, relaxing space. There's a reconnection that happens with head, heart, and gut, because those are really our 3 brains. And the gut is primary if we want to be here and be self-actualized, as I think Jung is the word he used. But self-actualization is really being willing to be fully present in the moment, open to whatever is happening and what is your opportunity to share who you are or take in what's being offered. Most of us are rehashing what happened yesterday and then trying to figure out what we need to do about the future, which is what karma is. We take the traumas from yesterday, and because we don't want to do that again because we've decided something is wrong, we haven't really learned the lesson from it, we put it right into the future. Because when we say, oh God, I didn't mean that to do that, I want to be different in the future, God says, oh, okay, here's another opportunity to be different. But we don't realize when that other trigger comes up, why is this happening again? I told you, God, I don't want this anymore. But we've really called it forth because we've told God what happened in the past was wrong and I want another chance. So the way we clear the path forward is to forgive the past, let it go, trust it. And there's been moments once I moved into my 60s where I started realizing, not from a thinking point, but from a gut level, oh, my past was perfect. Everything was just as it needed to be because it got me to where I am now. And the only way I could feel that is because I continued to let go. What if nothing's wrong? What if this is just what's happening? What if that thing in the past, nothing was wrong? What if that was just what was happening? And allows us to step back and get the message. So we don't have to wait till our past life review, which so many people who've had these near-death experiences, right? They, experience death and come back. They all talk about, they move into this blissful experience of total love and non-judgment. And then they look back at their life and have a past life review where basically it's the same thing. They say, oh, nothing went wrong. What did I learn from all those experiences? What was the gift of that life? We can do that as we're still alive. And when we do, it opens the path forward. The life force increases. It's not stuck in old traumas and old decisions that life's not fair. I didn't do it right, blah, blah, blah. Life opens up. And, at 70 years old, or, I look at my heroes or the people I look at for as examples. One of my main ones is Diana Ross, who
Okay.
when I was a kid in high school, I went to see her in Las Vegas, and she called me up on stage to dance with her. And my favorite show at that point was Soul Train, and I knew all the dances. I could do the robot and the Skeeter Rabbit and all this stuff. So during Love Hangover, she saw me snapping my fingers and stuff, so she called me up on stage. And at that point, I had like long shoulder hair. I was like a surfer hippie in the 60s. And here was this white boy doing this robot and doing the bump with Diana Ross, and she was quite impressed. And for me, she was the mentor or the guru who saw something in me, mirrored it back, because I was, this kid who did not do well in high school because my parents got divorced, and I just thought, I don't believe in all this crap. And so I just kind of given up because I didn't see a penny, this young gay kid who felt all this energy in him, but, according to my family system, it wasn't acceptable to be a dancer or to be this or whatever. But when Diana called me up on stage and then at the end of the show gave me her scarf and said, the theme from Mahogany, how sad the answers to those questions can be, she handed me her scarf and looked right at me and said, how good the answers to those questions can be. Of course, the song is Do You Know Where You're Going To? So it was really like she was telling me, hey, kid, you got talent. I see something in you. And so that was really the start of me going, wow, I can follow this dream. Mm. And so it's just really looking at the beliefs and the stuff that is put on us when we're born. It's not bad. It really is our obstacle course. It's what we need to strengthen our, and this is all in the play, strengthen our will and our ability to choose from our heart space and from that divine connection from source, rather than always taking our cues from the collective consciousness, because that's we're here to break through the collective consciousness and offer something new, no matter what it is, even if it's just our own idea of who we are and how we want to live life. We don't need to push it on anyone else. We don't need to tell anybody else about it. But when we're in that space, that energy flows through us, and it's what evolves the world.
Carsten, you really be dropping them on them. I don't even know how to really actually follow up with. How can the people get in contact with you? How can they stay illuminated in your light?
Well, you can certainly go to my website. I haven't updated it lately, but it's got a lot of stuff on it. I actually have to put the information about the benefit that we're doing. But CarstenSpencer.com, CARSTEN, like 10 cars backward, and then Spencer, SPENCER.com, or that same name, Hotmail. Send me an email, and I'll put you on my email list. I send out a newsletter every week, basically telling what I'm going to be talking about at Unity. We are getting our Zoom, and we're going to go to Facebook streaming, but you don't have to be in Richmond to be able to experience my Sunday talks. We also have wonderful guest speakers as well. But yeah, once you get on my newsletter, I'll send that out every week, and I also work one-on-one with clients doing energy work. I work with crystals and my voice because it's the vibration that really harmonizes and connects us. So that's the best way to contact me, either CarstenSpencer@hotmail.com or CarstenSpencer.com.
There it is. You heard the man. Get at him whenever. Jump on that newsletter for sure. Before, man, listen. Man, it goes so fast. Before we get out of here, I need you to drop a jewel. Well, I mean, you've been doing that the whole conversation. Man, is there anything that you feel the audience needs to listen to currently at this present time? Just going to get replayed on the internet too. So like,
sure.
The now could be different for different people, but in the same breath, what do you feel the people need?
Well, Nuke, I'm going to make it personal, because you just talked about how you've been putting yourself out there dating-wise again, sort of opening up your heart to maybe the next growing opportunity through a relationship. Let me ask you how old you are now.
40.
40. All right. So you're in such a potent place because you're in a place where you've gotten good 10 years into this new Saturn cycle. So you're clearing a lot of stuff. And that heart opening that you're feeling is part of what I look at as the process of chakra awakening. Each of our chakras, you've got 7 main chakras, each of them have a 7-year maturation process. So from 1 to 7, your root and your physical chakra is opening. From the next one, it's your sacral center. That's where you move into adolescence at the end of that. Then it's the solar plexus, our feeling center. But anyway, you're right at the point where your crown chakra is starting to open. Your third eye is open, so you're beginning to look at there's much more possibilities than you had been taught or you'd realized before. So you're opening your eyes. Recognize that at this point, new stuff is coming into you. So really be aware that whoever shows up in your life and, triggers you and you think, oh, that's interesting, they're there to help you continue to clear out the old karmic misunderstandings. And that's, we have the illusion that the happily ever after, the person's supposed to come along and they're the ones that are going to fill all the emptiness and make everything happy. The truth is, anyone that's going to pull us in and we're going to spend a good amount of our time with them, we are connecting with them on a lot of energetic levels. And very often it's these lower chakras rather than the upper chakras, because a lot of us is like, well, I really like this person, or I really like this girl. It doesn't make any sense up here, but I'm just drawn to them. And then we get up in our head and try to figure out why and try to manipulate it, rather than being present with the emotions and continuing to remember that this person didn't come into my life to give me unconditional love. They came into my life to show me where I'm unable to feel that unconditional love and share it with others. So that's the challenge. So when you get triggered in a relationship, and this goes for beyond relationships, it's the gem is beginning to recognize that those triggers are the old karmic energy that's been stuck because you have a belief that it's on one level telling you that something is wrong or this shouldn't be happening, or this is happening because I did something wrong in the past or made some wrong choice. It's just throwing that out the window. So you ask yourself, wow, I've been triggered. Number one, you want to thank the messenger, whatever it is, person, place, or thing out there that has triggered you, and go, let me feel this feeling because this is my life force. And then you breathe into it, and then you give yourself a chance to feel it, because in the feeling, we integrate, we connect the intellect with our chakra system rather than letting our chakra system throw us back out into the world and try to do more outer fixing, because that's all temporary out there. Our core stuff is inside. So we breathe into the feeling, and then we ask ourselves, what if nothing's wrong? What if this is just what's happening? And that opens up that compassionate part of our mind, that Buddhist part of our mind, that is taking the world at face value, which means we've once again reconnected with our core energy and we're back in the moment. And then you want to ask yourself, what might be the gifts of this situation? Without jumping up into your intellect and trying to figure it out, these are open-ended questions that invite in your intuition, which for me, that is your direct connection with spirit, your intuition and your gut instincts. And so it just brings you back into your own powerful tools to live and thrive in time and space. Because, when I do that, I ultimately will get back. And, these practices, remember that the ego wants the immediate gratification. Oh, Carsten, I did what you said, and I didn't feel better right away. Well, that's maybe because you need to sit with this feeling that you've called anger and revenge for a couple of days to let it integrate, to let it give you the gift of an open heart and a new way of looking at things. And very often, it's the tears that will come when that aha recognition comes, and you can literally feel yourself physically releasing the old karma and the old misunderstanding you had. And that's the healing of the inner child. All this stuff that I've been sharing, it really is about just revaluing and validating that inner child that's not going to go away. And that inner child is with us all through our life, and it's the spontaneous, creative, joyful part of us that is non-judgmental. But it's been programmed with the what we call the judgmental parent.
That's a
And
lot,
so we
man.
need to be the loving parent. And it's a practice.
It
It's a
is.
practice. I'm 70 years old, been working on this stuff for a long time, and it's still a practice. And it's remembering when you have those days and you wake up and it feels like there's all the heaviness and everything's working against you. It's going, oh, okay, I remember this feeling, and I don't have to get lost in it. I can remember that this physical experience, one of Jesus's most truest words is, this too shall pass. This too shall pass. One thing leads to the next, and you don't need to get stuck in any of it.
Hmm.
And that means we don't have to start grasping when we feel the good stuff. Most of us aren't really able to really enjoy a good feeling of satisfaction and accomplishment when it happens, or meeting someone that makes us feel good, because the ego immediately goes, oh, this made me feel good. How do I keep it from going away? And we start grasping. We go into that old fight, flight, fixing, rather than saying, oh, wow, this feels good. What a wonderful feeling. I wonder what's next. Or it's just staying open.
Carson, do you have any last words for us? And the floor is yours to close out.
Okay.
That's a tight. That's a just close it out for us.
So I would say, in closing, just to remember that what we hold within our heart, within our mind, within our gut is the powerful life force of source that created the entire universe. And the reason we're here is because whatever we have done to get ourselves here was positive, powerful flow of energy, and it continues to support us with each breath. And our gift is the gift of choice. We can choose what we decide to think about ourselves. We can choose what we tell ourselves the world is about. And our beliefs are what help create our world. And so it's really owning your power, staying in the moment, recognizing that nothing will come to you that is not consistent with your growing journey, because there are powerful other energies involved in where you're going. And so to embrace the not knowing, but to recognize that the one core knowing is that you're an eternal being made at your core of love, and so is everyone and everything else. It can be mind-blowing to the ego, but that's the good thing, because it really is about recognizing that the ego isn't in charge. It's training the ego to listen to that higher energy. And reminding yourself in each moment that I'm okay, that I'm doing the best I can, and so is everyone else.
That's a beautiful reminder. That definitely is, because man, we are out here together on this rock.
Exactly. Amen.
And
Amen.
man, we got to get it together. We have to get it. There's no separation. We're not. Where are you going to separate and go to? You're still going to be here.
Yes.
So like,
Yes.
yeah,
And when you stop and get still, especially out in nature, you feel that, oh, on one level everything is okay, but we human beings have a tendency to keep throwing these blankets of not good, this shouldn't be happening, and then jump in and try to fixing it. It's all that unconscious fixing based in fear that is what causes that, a lot of the negative, so much of the negativity.
right. No, for real. Man, Carson, I appreciate you for stopping through and blessing us with this. Let's call it an alignment. We're gonna call it an alignment
Anyway,
because it definitely put a lot of things into perspective. Not just for me, but I'm pretty sure my listeners could agree that there are some things that were said that resonate. So we appreciate the vocal vibrations in the morning. Um, Thank you.
well, I appreciate the opportunity and the format, and it's been a delight talking with you. I tune into voices, and you got a wonderful grounding energy and a wonderful heart that I feel coming through in your voice. So I appreciate it, Nuke.
I appreciate that. Yes, sir. We are going to sign off with the Family Revolution, edutainment, spirituality, health, and hip hop all in one show. I have been your host, the young man Nuke. You guys be smooth. Peace.